Welcome back. Sereetsi and the Natives are on a musical tour in South Africa. They are here to showcase their blend of traditional rhythms of their native cultures of Botswana. Tomeletso Sereetsi joins us now. And Dr. Sereetsi, thank you so much for your time and for joining us here in Newzroom Afrika. Now, you joined the musical scene, about 10 years ago, officially in the land of Botswana. But I think it's very interesting in terms of your name. Let's first talk about Sereetsi and the Natives. Sereetsi is your surname, but Sereetsi also means a good listener.
Yeah.
You play good music, which is jazz infused. And who are the Natives?
The Natives are the supporters. The Natives are the followers, are the fans, are the people who really support what we do. But also the Natives is just acknowledgement that the music of Sereetsi and the Natives, at the very core of it, is the native rhythms of Botswana, the native language, the poetry, all those, artistic expressions that are a heritage, from Botswana. That is, the core of the Sereetsi and the native sound.
Right. So talk to us about that sound. How did it come about? And just talk to us about that journey, that 10-year journey that has led you to where you are now.
Yes. Sereetsi and the Natives, in my native Botswana, we are known as the people who have made the four-string guitar cool. And the four-string guitar is a four-guitar tradition from Botswana. Various nations have their own guitar traditions. You have Maskandi here in South Africa. We have our own as well.
Okay.
So we get the regular 6-string and then we remove 2 strings. We tune it in our own distinctive way. And we play it with just 4 strings. And, there's a distinctive sound that comes from that. So that has been the bedrock of the Sereetsi and the native sound. And that is the guitar that I learned as a kid. That's my first introduction to live music. And when it came time for me to start writing songs and expressing myself, the four-string guitar was the go-to for me, because I just love the way it sounds. To me, it speaks Setswana, and so that has been at the very core of the Sereetsi and the native story. But we are known as, I'm known as a storyteller,
right?
Who tells stories of my people, and fearlessly so, I talk about various subjects, and I believe that's what art is supposed to do. It's supposed to talk about different things, things that ordinary people maybe in their ordinary day-to-day lives may find uncomfortable. I think art can make it easier. People may think, oh, we're just talking about a song by Sereetsi and the Natives, while in actual fact they're addressing things that may have been difficult for them to talk about. But because there is a song now that is maybe trending, it has broached the subject. Yeah, it's like a nice break of sorts,
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. And I really want us to get into that in terms of the significance of your messaging. I mean, what narratives do you want to get out there? Because you're not only just a Botswana artist, but also you have very much of a global appeal.
Oh, yes. I believe there is a place for art in our lives. And it's also that to reflect, society, to reflect the times, to say this is where we are, but also to reimagine the future, to say, where could we be, in the next 10 years. So I also have songs where maybe I'll be talking about, a couple of years ago, I had a song that talked about something that related to AI, and that was before, we were here. I remember lately somebody was saying, hey, you saw this like 10 years ago. I was like, yeah, people were already talking about it. We already seen technology. But the thing is that it's important for art to talk about not only what's going on, but also to say, where could we be in 10 years and how could we be dealing with whatever could be emanating in 10 years, And also to be... for me, it's also important for us to look back as well, to be, for art to be a tool for us to know where we've been, I think it's very important for us to know where we are so that the past also informs the present and therefore also informs us where we could go in the future.
Yeah. So for many young people, I suppose, then they could use your songs and that art as a place and time in history for them to learn in terms of where they come from and their forefathers as well. I just want you to speak a little bit on some of the challenges perhaps that you may have experienced, particularly in your country of origin, because a lot of the times with South African musicians who produce folk type of music, contemporary music that is embedded within their traditions, they don't get a lot of airplay on commercial radio stations. Is that the same for you in Botswana?
Yeah, relatively the same. So it's also a challenge to us, you know, to say how do we take what is folksy, maybe, you know, content that is folksy, how do we repackage it to still retain, you know, that folksiness and also be able to speak to the times. You know, I think it's also a challenge to us as creatives. I know there's, you know, you run the you know, the risks that maybe you would lose that essence of you know, the heritage. But I think for me, because I'm not totally and strictly and exclusively steeped in the tradition, I believe that even the heritage that I received, those that I received from, also tingled with it a little bit, you know. Yeah, so I believe that I should take the heritage. It's a foundation, but I should be able to use this heritage to speak to the times and bring in other elements, because I'm living today, but I should also be able to, when you listen to the music, for you to be able to say, oh, here is a Motswana speaking, and there's heritage here, but they are talking about what's going on today. So it's something that I've been working with, you know, trying to push, because today I'm able to have young people, you know, in my shows. A lot of young people who come to my shows. And for me, I think I've been able, you know, to some extent, and it's something that I'm still working on. And I think I'll be working on for many years, you know, because there are always young people, you know, 10 years from now, there will be other young people,
of course.
You know, so, you know, that experimentation, you know, how much of the old do you retain and how much of the new do you bring in, so that you don't, you know, bastardize totally what is essentially Setswana, you know, the Setswana heritage, and retaining that.
Of course.
So it's a dance, you know.
I mean, you're a producer, you're a composer, a arranger, a singer, a guitarist, and I mean, you speak about just ensuring that you preserve this heritage. How important is education and knowing our history, and just as a musician and as an artist, bringing in the element of academics in ensuring that you relay your message in a way that it should?
Yeah, I think it's very important. I think it's very important for us to know where we've been, and that is the place of history. History is such that we don't start afresh. You know, we start from a base of a strength, you know, because our people, they came to this point not just by sheer luck. They came to this point because they had institutions that were strong, that were able to help them to negotiate various, you know, various conditions, you know, wars, you know, diseases, whatever. So we should be able to know the systems that our people had, you know, because we didn't just come here by mistake. So for me, it's very important that we learn where we've been, because that's a place of strength, you know. Then we can be able to say, oh, how can we tweak this, you know, and how can we make this, you know, work for us today or into the future. Yeah.
You have a global appeal. I mean, I mentioned it a little earlier on, but you've performed in the Netherlands, Eswatini, in Sweden, in Lesotho, in Nigeria, in Kenya. You've had so many encounters with global audiences. What do you think it is about your music that people that don't even understand Setswana can resonate with?
Well, I believe it's just that, you know, I bring that sound that probably they don't get to hear every day, you know. And I think For me, I think that's the thing. I think that's my unique selling proposition, is that I bring this sound and this whole aesthetic that they haven't heard before, haven't seen before. Yeah. Yeah.
So we're most likely to hear these sounds in South Africa this coming winter, I believe. What can audiences look forward to?
Yes, yes, certainly. So the big idea is that after winter, we are going to do a tour. We are coming back here now with my band, and we play a couple of dates around here. So I encourage our fellow natives here to come through and come join the native fold.
All right, Tomeletso, thank you so much for your time and for joining us. A very interesting story and how you remove those 2 strings out of a 6-string guitar and create that Botswana traditional sound. Thank you so much for your time.